a very warm good morning to all the listeners of All India Radio. दोस्तों मैं हूं साक्षी मांडवाल और लेकर आ गए हैं आज हम दूसरा सेमीफाइनल मुकाबला दी ऑनगोइंग आईसीसी वुमेन्स वर्ल्ड कप 2022 का, जो कि होने वाला है साउथ अफ्रीका और इंग्लैंड के बीच में। आपको बता दें कि कल के पहले सेमीफाइनल में द ऑस्ट्रेलियंस हैव मेड देयर वे इनटू द फाइनल्स बाय वेरी कॉन्फिडेंटली and in fact very easily also, winning over West Indies. I'm joined over here in the studio with my dear friend and co-host Amit Arora. Good morning, Amit.
A very good morning to you. कार्यक्रम का नाम है अनुमानों के आईने में। पहला सेमीफाइनल तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया 157 रनों से जीत गया वेस्ट इंडीज से और 3 अप्रैल को होने वाले फाइनल में अपनी जगह बना गया। लेकिन आज का दूसरा सेमीफाइनल तय करेगा कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया इंग्लैंड से खेलेगा या साउथ अफ्रीका से। अनुमान लगाने के लिए यहाँ पर 2 मेहमान भी हैं। हमारे साथ हैं जय शर्मा, पूर्व अंतर्राष्ट्रीय क्रिकेटर। गुड मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग अमित।
और साथ ही एस कनन, स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिस्ट। गुड मॉर्निंग कनन। तो इंग्लैंड वर्सेस साउथ अफ्रीका should be a very nice encounter.
It has to be. I mean, to justify the love of the spectators and the people who are, awake at this moment. And being
We'll have to pause you, जया जी, क्योंकि टॉस की तरफ अपने श्रोताओं को सीधे लेकर चलते हैं इस समय। Well, the good news coming in for all the South African fan lovers out there, because South Africa ने टॉस जीत लिया है, आज पहले फील्डिंग करने का निर्णय लिया है। Kanan, coming to you, do you think this has been a good call on the South Africans' part?
I think they're factoring in the due. We saw in the match which India played against South Africa on Sunday, a bit of a miscalculation perhaps on behalf of Mithali Raj. There's so much due, the bowlers were struggling, holding on to the towel, trying to rub it. Oh, I think they've made a strategy, and the way South Africa has played in this particular World Cup, they've looked in red hot form. So I think they know what they want to achieve, and you cannot underestimate England. Virtually a second life for them. They're out of the tournament almost. 4 wins now, and they've turned it around. So this is a match between 2 teams which have played, good cricket. And don't forget, in the warm-up, England had beaten South Africa.
जी बिल्कुल। वार्म अप जो ग्रुप स्टेज का जो मुकाबला था उसमें साउथ अफ्रीका ने इंग्लैंड को हराया था 3 विकेटों से। तब भी साउथ अफ्रीका के कप्तान ने टॉस जीता था और पहले बॉलिंग करने का फैसला किया था। लेकिन जया, लिसनर्स को थोड़ा ये ड्यू फैक्टर समझाइए, क्योंकि ये दिन रात का खेल है। तो पहले जब बॉलिंग करता है कप्तान, इससे लाभ क्या होता है?
पहले जब बॉलिंग करता है, क्योंकि देखिए ड्यू फैक्ट जैसे जैसे गेम जाता है और कंडीशंस चेंज होती है तो ड्यू फैक्टर आता है. सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट जो ड्यू का एक रोल होता है दैट इज ग्रिपिंग द बॉल. एक बॉलर के लिए बॉल को प्रॉपरली ग्रिप करना, उसके वेरिएशंस को यूज़ करने के लिए ग्रिप बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है टेक्टिकली टेक्निकली. सो जब हमने देखा है कि जब ड्यू पड़ती है तो वो बॉल ग्रिप करना बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. और जब आप फील्डिंग कर रहे होते हो आउटफील्ड में, अगर वो गीला होता है तो आप स्लिप भी करते हैं आउटफील्ड में, या आप थ्रो करते हैं तो प्रॉपरली थ्रो नहीं होता, तो दैट गिव्स एन
मतलब कैच छूट
एडवांटेज.
सकता है.
कैच शूट.
कैच छूट सकता है. ओके कानन, मैं आपसे ये पूछूंगी कि अगर हम दोनों ही टीम्स की जर्नी कंपेयर करें इस वर्ल्ड कप के अंदर, तो इंग्लैंड ने जहां शुरुआत इतनी अच्छी नहीं करी, वहां हमने देखा कि लास्ट के आखिरी 4 मुकाबले वो बहुत स्मूथली जीतते हुए हैं. दे गॉट द मोमेंटम. साउथ अफ्रीकन्स ऑन द अदर हैंड हैव हैड अ गुड रन. In fact, the only team who's come very close to giving Australia competition also somewhere to be put in that category. Do you think today would be a very solid game that we're looking at of cricket?
See, one factor which keeps bothering me is South Africa do very well in the initial stage. If you look at the history of men's cricket or women's cricket, when it comes to ICC tournaments, when they come to the big stage and the biggest challenge, they choke. I hope they don't choke today. But having said that, the journey of the two teams has been very different. South Africa has been winning non-stop, and if as a statistician, someone a student of statistics says, if law of average is going to catch up, they could lose. And for England, they've said that we have fought actually 4 knockout matches till now. They were out, they were looking at death. They were staring at death. And from there to win each match, it's like being put on ventilator and then you're gasping for breath. And now I don't think they would be very happy the pressure is not on them. And they're going to bat, and I'm sure they'll put on their best effort. But very contrasting journey. But semi-final, all this doesn't matter. What you do on the field today is going to be the decisive matter.
जी बिल्कुल, श्रोताओं को भी आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे, यदि अनुमानों के आईने कार्यक्रम में आप भी अनुमान लगाना चाहें या एस कनन जया शर्मा से कोई सवाल करना चाहें तो आप हमें सीधा स्टूडियो फोन कर सकते हैं. नंबर नोट करें, 011 दिल्ली का STD कोड रहेगा और नंबर्स हैं 26497023, 26497024. दैट्स 26497023 एंड 24. इंग्लैंड की अगर बात करें तो पहले 3 मुकाबले इंग्लैंड हारा था, और हारा किससे था? उन साइड से जो टॉप 4 में आई हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, वेस्ट इंडीज, साउथ अफ्रीका से, और जीता टॉप 4 साइड से था. तो क्या इंग्लैंड को खतरा रहेगा कि जो सेमीफाइनल में पहुंची है उनसे तो हारा था?
आई थिंक ये एक बहुत ही डिफरेंट बॉल गेम हो चुका है. अब इट्स अ नॉकआउट स्टेज. लीग स्टेज से हम बाहर आ चुके हैं, और नॉकआउट में कोई भी टीम, आप ये बोल सकते हो कि इंग्लैंड हार के आई है तो उनको डर रहेगा, या आप ये बोल सकते हो कि साउथ अफ्रीका सारे मैचेस जीत के आई है तो उनको डर नहीं रहेगा. तो डेफिनेटली ये ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट बॉल गेम, एंड दोनों ही टीम्स चाहेंगी कि, क्योंकि इंग्लैंड डिफेंडिंग चैंपियन है, तो डेफिनेटली वो चाहेंगे कि अपने जो ट्रॉट से निकल के आए हैं, जो 4 मैचेस जीते हैं, उसकी फॉर्म को बरकरार रखें.
राइट. एंड ऑल्सो लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट कि 2017 में भी बहुत ही सिमिलर सिचुएशन रह चुकी है, जब साउथ अफ्रीका और इंग्लैंड सेमीफाइनल्स में ही एक साथ आमने सामने आकर भिड़े थे. डू यू थिंक समवेयर दैट वी विल बी सीइंग अ सिमिलर सिचुएशन रिपीटिंग like the semi-finals when they happened in 2017 and South Africans and England came face to face?
I don't agree at all. If that was the case, then India should be in the final,
Yeah.
Point number 1. And the second thing is 5 years is too long a gap to think what happened then. It's nice to discuss all this looking at stats. Cricket is played on the field, not among statisticians. And cricket is played in a very different way. We've seen how the ethos and pathos has changed. Did you imagine that South Africa will do well? No, I did not imagine they'll do well. Do you think that West Indies deserve to be in the semi-final? And the way they played yesterday, it was pathetic, It was not at all suggestive that they were chasing a 300 plus total. So this is a difference,
Yes.
And don't forget that New Zealand, the host, they lost.
Yes.
After beating, in a warm-up series, they thrashed India.
Yes.
So it's been a lot of changes, ifs and buts. So as Jaya said, when you go out and play your best cricket, you can win. And I think South Africa captain has been smart. We'll know, after the first innings, how the weather changed. She's described about, this dew factor, gripping the ball. You see people holding on to towels, tucking it behind in their, pants, pajamas, whatever you call it. Fielding is difficult. Getting a grip is difficult. More so for the spinner. And these wickets have not been, really the typical old New Zealand wickets. It's not like helping pace and bounce,
Right.
So spinners have been effective, and someone bowling very accurate line and length has a chance. And South Africa, I'm looking at Ismail. If she knocks off 2 wickets early on, it would be great.
जी आइए, श्रोता जुड़ चुके हैं फोन लाइन पर, उनसे बात करते हैं. गुड मॉर्निंग.
गुड मॉर्निंग इंडिया.
जी, कौन बोल रहे हैं?
मैं दीपक शर्मा बोल रहा हूँ.
कहाँ से बोल रहे हैं आप?
दिल्ली से.
जी, क्या है आपका अनुमान?
मेरा अनुमान ये है कि आज साउथ अफ्रीका जीतेगी आज।
जीतेगी कितने विकेटों से?
हाँ जी,
कौन से खिलाड़ी से उम्मीद है आपको?
उम्मीद क्या है कि हमने जीता हुआ, हमने सेमीफाइनल में जाना था
जी।
लेकिन मिथाली राज की कप्तानी ने हमें भगा दिया।
जी। और कोई सवाल करना चाहेंगे आप?
सवाल यही करना चाहूंगा कि हमारे पास बस आज सब कुछ सही था, बस खाली एक कप्तानी गलत हो गई
जी,
थी हमारी।
शुक्रिया आपके सवाल के लिए।
जी। और हमारे साथ एक और श्रोता इस समय जुड़ गए हैं। नमस्कार, गुड मॉर्निंग।
गुड मॉर्निंग मैम।
क्या नाम है आपका, कहाँ से कॉल कर रहे हैं?
मैं सूरज नागपुर से बोल रहा हूँ।
स्वागत है आपका सूरज जी हमारे शो पर। क्या पूछना चाहते हैं?
मैम मैं तो एक ही चीज कहूँगा, मैं उस दिन से बड़ा डिसअपॉइंटेड हूँ क्योंकि मतलब पूरा दिल टूट गया मैम, क्योंकि जिस तरह से इंडिया हारा है। तो मैं तो एक ही चीज कहूँगा, ये ट्रॉफी बेशक साउथ अफ्रीका के हाथ में जाए, लेकिन खुदा से यही दुआ करूंगा कि इंग्लैंड और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के हाथ में ये ट्रॉफी कभी न जाए।
सो क्लियरली यहाँ पर जया जी उन्होंने हर तरह से आज के मैच में या होने वाले गेम में भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया और इंग्लैंड के डायनामिक्स को तो आउट ही कर दिया है, आउट एंड आउट। सो वी आर लुकिंग एट एन अश्योर्ड विनर कमिंग फ्रॉम व्हाट सूरज जस्ट सेड, South Africans.
After losing to South Africa, he's still backing South Africa. That is the irony of it.
I guess.
I think
with another team.
साउथ अफ्रीका जो लास्ट गेम्स खेला है, 4 गेम्स, every single game went down to the wire and they won it. That will be the key because they are high on confidence. And one more thing, winning the toss here and electing to bowl first, that means you are putting the key bowler of England into pressure. That is Sophia Kelston, because there will be due factor and she is a left-arm spinner. It will be not easy to grip the ball and get what she is very good at.
जी बिल्कुल। और दक्षिण अफ्रीका की बात की कॉलर सूरज ने, तो हम आपको अंतिम 11 जो हैं वो भी बताएंगे। साउथ अफ्रीका की साइड इस प्रकार है, लेस्ली ली उनकी ओपनर हैं और उनके साथ आएंगी लॉरा वॉल्वा जो कि इस समय वर्ल्ड कप 2022 में हाईएस्ट स्कोरर हैं अब तक, तो बहुत ही अच्छी फॉर्म में चल रही हैं। लारा गुडॉल नंबर 3 पर, कप्तान सुनील लॉस नंबर 4 पर, मिनोन दुप्री जो कि भारत का जो मैच हुआ था उसमें प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच भी थी, मेरिजन कैप उनकी ऑलराउंडर, क्लोड ट्रायन, त्रिशा शेट्टी उनकी विकेट कीपर हैं, शबनम इस्माइल पेसर, मज़ाबाता क्लास और आयोभंगा खाका जिन्होंने भी इस वर्ल्ड कप में बहुत सारे विकेट्स लिए हैं। एक श्रोता है इस समय फोन लाइन पर। हेलो
हेलो, अनूप फ्रॉम रांची।
जी अनूप जी, गुड मॉर्निंग।
Good morning, sir. Sir, I would like to say the journalist, sir, that England might win, and it will be final between England and Australia, and it will be like asses. And bad luck for India. Third umpire had ball in her court. India must pull up their socks for next matches. That is that.
Thank you very much. We're looking for an Ashes contest in the finals in ODI.
Yes, indeed.
So Ashes is about test and this is
Yes.
about ODI. You know, there is a
yes.
big difference.
करेक्ट, ऑफ कोर्स। जया जी अभी आप बात कर रहे थे कि जिस तरह से अगर हम देखें तो साउथ अफ्रीकन्स की पूरी स्ट्रैटेजी ये रहेगी कि इंग्लैंड के ऊपर प्रेशर बनाया जाए। इफ़ आई वो टू आस्क यू कि इंग्लैंड के ऐसे कौन से वो प्लेयर्स हैं, बैटर्स खास तौर से, जिनसे साउथ अफ्रीकन्स वुड वांट टू कीप देम आउट ऑफ द वे, who would you think would be those
I think
batters?
starting with will be Temi Beaumont because she's kind of a player who can, just take the bowlers apart. And then going forward, Nat Sciver is an amazing form. So I think South Africa should be looking to get Sciver out early, and that's how they can make early inroads.
Absolutely. Let's also look at the playing 11 of England. Like Jaya said, the opener Temi Beaumont could well be a danger for South Africa, particularly because even in the group stage, she had scored a half century against the Proteas. Daniel Wyatt is the other opener. Heather Knight, their captain, will be coming one down. You've got Natalie Siva, one of the best all-rounders when it comes to women's cricket. Amy Jones is their wicket keeper. Sophia Dunkley, Catherine Brunt, Sophie Ecclestone, the all-rounder. The spinner who did so well for England even in the test matches, Kate Cross, Charlotte Dean and Ania Shrubsole. So Shrubsole comes back into playing 11 today.
Yes, that's right. You made a very valid point. I was reading an interview with Kate Cross just a day ago. This is from one of the British papers, because to get the perspective. It was very interesting that they're very honest about their journey till now. And they said the last 4 matches for us have all been like knockouts. So that shows that, when you're prepared for the test every day, and when you come and compete in the semi-final, there is no laxity. You are out, you've come back. And when you've gone through this situation of, every match being so tight that if you lose it, you're going to be thrown out. and you come in. So I think they'll put their best foot forward. They know that, defending champions, the pressure is on them. And contrary to what some of the callers might say, England and Australia, very, historically and look at it perspective-wise, they've been playing for a much longer time. But South Africa, if they pull it off, it will be the new dimension in women's cricket, especially the ODI format.
या ऑल्सो इफ यू वुड टॉक अबाउट इंग्लैंड, क्योंकि इंग्लैंड इस समय अपना मोमेंटम वापस से गेन कर चुका है जिस तरह से परफॉर्मेंस दे रहा है जया जी। आई एम गोइंग टू बी आस्किंग यू दिस अप स्ट्रेट ओवर हियर कि इंग्लैंड को क्योंकि आज पहले बल्लेबाजी करने के लिए उतारा गया है, तो उनकी स्ट्रैटेजी क्या होने वाली गिवन द फैक्ट दैट पिच थोड़ी सी ड्राई दिख रही है एंड स्लोअर दिख रही है? That's been
I think
pointed
they
out.
would definitely like to cross 300 run mark, because every single team that you see in this World Cup, 300 looks like to be a good challenging total. Anything below 300 is achievable. हमने साउथ अफ्रीका को भी देखा जिस तरीके से उन्होंने इंडिया के अगेंस्ट 275 चेस कर लिया, बट जब आप एक पर्टिकुलर रन रेट से ऊपर चले जाते हैं तो देन इट पुट्स प्रेशर ऑन द ओपोनेंट. And that's what I think, that England will be looking to score much above 300 or 300 plus.
तो कनन, पहला सेमीफाइनल वेलिंगटन में हुआ था, वहां पर हमने देखा 45 ओवर थे पर 300 प्लस बना लिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने. यहाँ हेगली जो ओवल है क्राइस्टचर्च में, यहाँ कितना एक अच्छा स्कोर रहेगा इंग्लैंड के लिए आपके हिसाब से?
See, as Jaya said, 300 is a good target. But when I mean good, if a team like Australia was there, they would overall even 300. They will go at even 320. They'll go hammer and tong.
Yes.
Because they're a different breed altogether. And I see shades of Australians. When I mean shades, I don't mean anything to do with skin color. It's the batting shade. They're also showing that same aggression. They're showing that same, wanting to go out and bang, hit. So that's why I think they're mentally also ready. It's not about just the due. They're also mentally ready to go and bat second. I think they're prepared, very, very well prepared mentally. But 300, here there's no rain prediction as of now. So if you aim for 300, you may land up at 270, 280. That is not going to be good enough. Okay. This is a mistake which India made. Yes. I'm going back to India
Falling
because Zain mein abhi bhi hai callers ka कि India हार चुका है. Between 40th and 50th over, what happened? It was terrible. We fell short at least by 35 runs. And even if it was 20 runs extra. So the same thing, if you aim for 300, you may finish at 280. So you look at 310, 320, how are you going to use your first 10 overs? Don't lose wickets. And how you accelerate. And England have been playing, cricket, women cricket. They've been playing for far longer. So they know what to do, provided the South African bowlers let them do it.
यस ऑफ कोर्स. जया जी, कल हम, अगर आपको याद हो, आपने एक बात भी कही थी कि साउथ अफ्रीकन्स को चोकर्स कहा जाता है जो मेंस टीम में अगर हम देखें, एंड समवेयर यू आल्सो सीन glimpses of that in the female team also. Do you think that could come into play today, since you did attach the word choker to the South African team?
So I think that's what happened with them in 2017 as well. And but I think it's high time for this country, because they have amazing cricketers, they have amazing sports people. It's high time for this country to get over this tag, and this is the right moment for South Africa. If they can do it today, I think there'll be a rise of another giant in the sporting world.
जी, लेकिन जया, थोड़ा दोनों कप्तान के बारे में बताइए. सुनील लूस साउथ अफ्रीका के कप्तान और हेदर नाइट इंग्लैंड के कप्तान, कैसे देखती हैं आप इन दोनों की जो स्टाइल है कैप्टनसी की?
I think Heather Knight is a much seasoned campaigner, I would say, because जैसे कनन ने बोला कि they have been playing cricket for far so long. Ashes खेलते हैं, काफ़ी सारी सीरीज ऐसी हैं जो बहुत ही टफ सीरीज हैं. Ashes is one of them. So I think Heather Knight, अगर हम एक्सपीरियंस की बात करें, डेफिनेटली हाई ऑन एक्सपीरियंस. बट सुनील लूस, बिकॉज ये ऐसी टीम है जो ऊपर आ रही है, और जिस तरीके से वो फाइट करके आ रहे हैं, उनके पास भी वो एक्सपीरियंस बड़ा जल्दी आ रहा है. तो आई थिंक इट विल बी अ गुड हेड टू हेड कॉन्टेस्ट.
Let me add, it's not just about South Africa. They're carrying the ambitions, aspirations of a whole continent.
Yes.
South Africa, when they hosted the FIFA World Cup, it was huge.
Yeah.
Even sitting here, we may not have known. We must have just seen the iconic players. But for a country which has got so much of history, you've had racism charges, so on and so forth. And for a country like that to come on the field and perform as hosts or perform as players, it's very different. So for South Africa, if cricket is going to do well, their women's cricket, it's going to send a message, because it's a glowing sport. It's a growing sport. And don't forget that cricket, women's cricket is part of the Commonwealth Games this time, T20 format. So you don't know how it's going to change, you know. We are right bang in the middle of the World Cup women 50 over format. And people are already talking about the Women's Premier League. It just goes to show how, you know, in terms of cricket and commerce, this game is catching up. And everyone is very excited about it.
Yes, and Jaya, since Kanan mentioned about discrimination, sports unites. How do you see this gesture, whether in men cricket or even in women's cricket now, before the start of the match, players going down on one knee as a gesture towards fight against racism?
I think it's happening like in cricket. I think it's happening for the first time. But if you see the other sports, I've seen this racism thing in NFL or the major leagues out there. So I think people are getting aware, and sports is the right ambassador to win over this situation.
Yes.
Right.
I think, we are talking about racism and we are talking about apartheid, which is specific to South Africa. And the whole world knows what Nelson Mandela did, to change the whole image. But taking the knee is something which has stemmed from 2020, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, it's a moment and a movement, both. So we saw that, even when England were playing, you had someone like Michael Holding, the kind of speech he made, the kind of passion with which he spoke, everyone's eyes were wet. For me, seeing Michael Holding as a bowler and how he's speaking about, it's very easy to say, ye kalu hai, ye hapshi hai. Sorry, I'm using these words, but this is the kind of smirk, sarcasm which players have been subjected to. So Black Lives Matter is very important. Indians have also done it, taking a knee. You take icons, you take it in football. You look at the biggest icon in motorsport, Formula One, Lewis Hamilton. He's been campaigning for it. So it's a good movement.
Right.
It's not just about trying to show something which is not real. It is real.
Right.
So you have equality, and here we are talking about gender equality.
Right.
You don't know, tomorrow you may have mixed teams playing in cricket.
Right.
Yes, I
Because that's how close. If you look at the fitness, endurance, speed and stamina, all four combined
Yes.
of Aussie cricketers, ladies and South Africans. I'm telling you put them in NCA, they'll probably give the boys a challenge.
Yes, I think this this world would become an even more beautiful place to live in अगर हम ये बात समझ जाए कि not just black lives matters, but all lives matter, irrespective of however one takes form of. Quickly coming to you, Jaya ji, दोनों teams को अगर हम देखें तो in terms of balance and composition, which team do you think is better equipped to go ahead for the day-to-day? South Africa, or would it be England?
I think England, they have much more experience riding on their back. And but South Africa is catching up fast. So I think both the teams are balanced. It's just that which team will tick all the boxes, be it batting, be it bowling, and especially in fielding.
जी, आखिरी सवाल, वहाँ जो स्पेक्टेटर्स आ रहे हैं न्यूजीलैंड में, आपको क्या लगता है किसको सपोर्ट ज़्यादा करेंगे आज?
Very good question, because they have lost, they're out of it.
Correct.
So once you're out as the host, you really don't know. I think they should cheer for good cricket. They obviously, knowing the Trans-Tasman rivalry, New Zealanders is not going to, cheer for
Yes.
Aussie. Or if you go to Australia, they're not going to change, for the Kiwis. It's like India versus Pakistan. How much you can talk about positivity, being friends. What happens across the border and what happens in sporting field is very different. But that's ingrained, that hatred is ingrained. I'm not talking about hatred. I'm talking about hatred in sport, where you want that team to lose. So it's a similar situation.
Yes.
But here, New Zealand will obviously want to watch cricket.
Right.
They have not played as good host. Now they'll want to watch as good host.
Right.
I think from my experience, I would say New Zealand will be supporting South Africa here.
South
Quickly,
Africa.
who are the two of you supporting? Kanan.
I don't want to support anyone. I
Or
want to watch
who do you think is
good
going to
cricket
win?
after
Very quick.
yesterday.
South Africa ki England? Kiska din hai aaj?
You
One
asking
word.
me as Kanan, a sportsman, or as someone who's an expert?
Either which way is your call, your pick.
I want South Africa to win, but I also want England to win.
That's a very diplomatic answer, Jaya ji.
I think what changed here is now South Africa is no longer an underdog. England is. So I think that is the difference.
Let's see who starts barking and biting first.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much, Kanan. Thank you, Jaya,
Thank
for
you.
analyzing the game for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hope that today we get a very exciting second semi-final between South Africa and England.
Yes.